Perth is usually about 50 years behind, Josie Oak says.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've just gone over to Channel 9 and I'm in sync. So
hey, well that's easier.
That's much better.
Thanks, Misty. In comes Rashid Khan, and with his slight frog in the blender, Paul Adams style bowling action, they play that one down to long on. Net run rate, obviously a factor.
Yes, and therefore they will probably want to get it done as quick as possible, but then they don't want to be stupid at the same time. I'll let him have another ball and I'll play Rashid Khan jingle. It's one of my favourite jingles.
Rashid Khan's just taken off his top to reveal an identical top underneath. It's like Steve on top of another. That's probably the only point of connection. That's a reverse sweep from Milan. Misses it entirely. Here's the Rashid Khan jingle.
Rashid Khan, yes please. The best off bowler in the whole silly world, yeah. Rashid Khan, yes please. What you gonna do when he bowls?
In again, that's through where point would have been an easy catch, but he's a little wide. They come back to 2. Milan progresses to 3 off 5. Hasn't quite got his eye in yet, but only 5 balls at the end.
Is that a steep? Oh, is that...
Against sartorial elegance. In comes Rashid Khan again. That one's a little fuller. Milan just digs it out. Notoriously slow starter sometimes, Milan, isn't he?
Yeah.
It can be, yeah.
Picks the gaps though when he gets going.
When he gets going, lethal. 5th ball of the over the wicket to the left-handed Milan. He gives himself room, but misses it again. Has not got his iron. Don't know. Is the pitch perhaps a little more difficult than we thought?
Well, this is what we said in the first innings, you know.
No,
you can never tell, can you? Until
I do think that Afghanistan are going to struggle with the bat against some of the better bowling attacks.
Yeah,
finally, Milan gets one away.
Well.
We did bowl very well. But finally, Milan gets one away, but just a single to the man out in the deep. That's the end of the 7th. England 44 for 1 at the end of it. Annie.
Leah says, so I guess at least that weird German that used to fly to all the Forest games from Germany will be happy back.
Don't know what he's talking about.
No, well, I was hoping you would know.
No.
Well, James Hillhouse would be happy. He's a Forest fan.
Ah, Forest.
Jay Graver said Andy is behind because he thinks he's circumnavigating the capitalist system by paying slave vegan houses elves in Bitcoin to mine electricity. He's not. He just gets shit service and thousands of vegan elves are sacrificed on the altar of his pak choi ego. There you are.
Well, there was a lot of words in there.
Wasn't there?
I followed,
that especially for me.
Followed some of them, Jay. That was very good. Right, it's Mujibin at the start of the 8th over. He's number 11 off 2, so he's bowled respectively so far. Round the wickets to Milan, who goes aerial. Doesn't get all of it. Goes out to the man at wide, long, off, and they come back to 2.
That's where he's good at getting the ball. And genuinely, people don't have fielders there. I can understand why you don't like Milan. He kind of comes across as that kind of player, but he does his job for England.
Well, I think he's quite notoriously difficult to play with.
Well, that's the rumours.
Single-minded. Got that one wide of the man in the inner cordon, but it's fielded by Kais, if that's the correct pronunciation. Almost certainly isn't. Just that for a single. He moves on to 7 off 10. Hill's back on strike.
A bit of an ego man, I gather.
Yeah.
But also, he's not a Red Bull fan, and
Yes, well, immediately marched down in Annie's book.
exactly.
Hales cuts that one to the man on the fence. Come through straight to him, though. They come through for just the one. And England finding it well. Perhaps we were expecting the match to be all over by now, but such is not the case. They're just 48 for 1 in the middle of the 8th. In comes Majib again. Round the wicket to Milan. Good ball. Maybe just on leg stump. And it's stroked with authority, but straight down to the man long on. Comes through for the single.
Sorry, I'm reading the football.
Oh, no, please do go ahead. It's your show. And okay, Hales launched himself at that one, and I couldn't quite tell whether that was on the full. It was a drop catch, but I think it might have bounced.
Was on the full.
Well, that's the second catch that's gone down in the field. The big contrast so far has been the fielding. England took 4 superb catches in the field. Really excellent. They've come through for the single.
Catches win matches.
They do indeed.
Well, they do indeed. And that it was on the run. He really should have taken it. And that one is just shoveled round the corner to the man 45 on the leg side. No run. Milan remains 8. England disappeared, I think, 51 at the end of the 8.
There is a tweet here from Hattie Wright, but it says only people in Hattie's Twitter circle can see this tweet. So, Hattie, I can't see the tweet. So sorry about that. Mog says not to suggest anything faulty, but it's not got any delay here in the good bit of Melbourne. So I think
not on Channel 9. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
We've got it back.
Jay Grover says Milan may not be a Red Bull fan, but at least he's not a Red Bull fan who is also a serial killer. Well, do we know that though?
And who's
for a fact?
And who are you saying?
Yeah, exactly. Who's a Red Bull fan who's a serial killer? That's who I don't know.
There are certain serial killers in history that got away, and everyone thinks they're cheeky chappies like Boris Johnson. Henry VIII, he was a serial killer.
But everyone says a Red Bull fan.
Well, I mean, if he was, he's okay, isn't he? He's fine.
Boris Johnson's only a fan of Boris Johnson.
That's true.
Is he a serial killer?
Henry VIII was a serial killer.
He was a queen killer.
Jolly old King Henry VIII.
He killed a few others, didn't he? Yeah.
He did indeed. Thomas Cromwell for one. Farid is into the attack, and that's shoveled round the corner by Hales.
But that was the thing those days, wasn't it? I mean, if you didn't like somebody, you just killed them. Really.
Yeah, not from, killed a couple of wives, goddammit, you know.
There's not many kings. I don't think there are any other kings who beheaded 2 of their wives, and still we think, cheeky chappy.
What a cad he was. Eh?
I'm not a fan of the Tudors at all. I really dislike them as a dynasty. It's a bit late,
I've just read a book which completely discounts them as this is an alternative reality.
Oh, one of those. Okay.
Yeah, and there were no Tudors because
that
Richard
would be
the
nice.
Third won.
One at Bosworth.
Was
so rooting for him at Bosworth.
Yeah,
really like Richard the Third. Hurried in again, second ball of the over. An elegant shot from Milan, but straight to the man at cover, and there is no run. Milan, 8 off 13. In another match, this would be a problem bear, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, in another match, they probably would have approached it differently as well. I think kind of horses for courses, isn't it?
Wise words indeed. And we look at the slightly glum Harry Brook, very, very cross-armed, and Sam Curran. Can't help feeling a little smug inside after taking 5 wickets in 7 balls. Fantastic performance earlier in the day if you missed it. In comes Farid again. And that one again shoveled round the corner. I'm using that verb rather a lot by Milan.
It's a good verb, though.
Deep 45. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And he's operating in dots or ones, which is not ideal, but I guess he's still there. He can launch an attack if needed later, and presumably it won't be needed because they're nearly halfway there, middle of the ninth over. Everything's more or less on course.
Where you are, Audrey?
It is. What time is it?
About 9.
It's quite late. No, it's much later. No, I am. About 11:30.
You carry on commentating.
Time is it? And he's out. While I was trying to find out what time
you were too busy looking for a clock.
The wicket has fallen. Hales has again shoveled. This time he shoveled it down the throat of the man at deep square leg, and he's out for 19 off 20.
That's a pretty shit. Top edge, for fuck's sake. Oh, no, he's out. Excellent. Top edge, for fuck's sake. Oh, no, he's out. Excellent. Top edge, for fuck's sake. Oh, no, he's out. Excellent.
That's a great jingle, that one.
It's highly appropriate because it's exactly what happened. You did get the top edge.
Yeah,
Well,
that was pretty poor. He scored 19 off 20 deliveries. He's not gone particularly quickly. Hales is going. Milan's going pretty slowly. I guess next out is Stokes. Hopefully, he's going to do something.
I guess if you're going to have a poor batting display, have it when you're chasing 119. You should still
Well,
get over the
this
line.
is true. Maybe the pitch isn't as easy as we thought it was, but hey.
I think that's a fair conclusion.
And
although,
as Messi says, it isn't even dew point yet. So.
No.
although it's fair to say that England and Australia did manage 408 between them in this stadium, not just of course, necessarily on this pitch, quite recently.
Fourthly, I still don't know what time it is in Melbourne.
Well, I'll tell you. Hang on, I'll go and get my.
No, it really.
She's just over
if you've got to get up and go somewhere else, then it really doesn't matter.
We're crying out loud. I'll play Ben Stokes' jingle while we're there.
It's 20 past midnight. Is what it is.
Oh.
Allied into Stokes, and he is. I was going to say he's off the mark straight away, but I think they tend
he
to
was.
put about. Oh no, he's off the mark. So he's off mark first ball, but this is an excellent over from Farid. He's 1 for 3 off his 5 balls. So
Cool.
that was a very agricultural hoik from Hales, wasn't it?
It was to do. I forgot this is in Perth, isn't it? So you're 3 hours ahead of them, aren't you? Oh, fuck.
Yes,
we fucking lost the Forest. Jesus Christ.
Well, quite. Apologies if anybody's been looking forward to catching up on that after the cricket. Of the ninth over.
Only if you're a Forest fan would you wanted to do that, I suppose.
Yeah, true. Milan shapes inside it, sails over the keeper's head. Those are actually 4 quite welcome, and they've turned into 4 wides.
5 wides.
And of course, it's 5 wides.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's a pretty poor ball, isn't it? It's gone over everything.
Very well. Yes.
Miles over everything as well.
Just when there
There's
was
a big scorer in this.
Yeah, just when he was turning the screw and he bowled an excellent over, he threw it away, and he's going to have to bowl that one again. Some excited English fans in the crowd. I take it they're English fans. Look more like Afghan fans.
I think they were Afghan fans.
Yeah, they had English
With
tops
England
on.
shirts.
Yes. Farid in again. Just knocked round the corner. Turned out to be the most productive shot so far. It just goes for a single. Farid 1 for 9 at the end of his first over. England 59 for 2. Annie.
Jay Grover says, my point being, Joss Butler slags off the red ball and is a serial killer. Milan just slagged off red ball cricket. Joss Butler is not a serial killer.
How is Joss Butler a serial killer? Do you know something we don't know?
Yeah.
Anything
So
to do?
I've got urgent news for you. I followed Annie's instructions. I've gone outside and there is a heavy dew.
There's a
There you
heavy
go.
dew. You see, I told you to go outside. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but
Right.
you're out in the sticks though, aren't you? Not in the...
Yeah, but
It
even
still
so.
would be. Hattie Wright says, "Oh, you can't see it. I was just saying that I'm loving the commentary, guys, as ever, and looking forward to joining you in a few days."
Excellent.
Hattie's back.
Nice. It's nice, isn't it?
And Ninja.
Talking of people who are back, Rashid Khan's back. He's at the top of his mark. Afghanistan 7% on win vising the 93%. The boffins have decreed. It's not done quite yet, though. That's played out. They've come back for 2. Hurried back for 2. Not a great Afghan fielding display.
But in the Ireland-Scotland game, wasn't it something like 90% that Scotland were going to win, and then
Yeah. It's a nonsense, isn't it? It really
Yeah.
is.
yeah.
Well, in this
Milan surveys his field. Rashid in again. That's just played off his legs. Straight to the man at leg gully. So, no run.
I mean, it's pretty poor for Milan. 12 off 17.
It is, isn't it?
T20.
Mind you, they're not. We're not.
I mean,
facing
yeah,
massive
as you said, it
opponents,
doesn't really matter in this situation, in this game. But
But
Well,
it would be
it
good
might
to get
do.
a good
well, it might. Yeah,
run
well,
rate.
exactly. I mean,
It
you
might
do
do.
kind of
That's
want
the
to get there.
thing. Net run rate becomes critical when you later on in the tournament. Well, that's just played out. I mean, it's a perfectly decent ball, but Milan really ought to be looking to accelerate now. 12 off 18. That's another dot ball gone by. And
But there's a heavy
Afghanistan-
dew.
yeah, there's a heavy tune. Afghanistan rushing through their overs, which is always a good Good idea. Carbon copy, rinse and repeats. Played straight out to the man in the covers. Dot ball. 2 runs off the first 4 balls of this over. Stokes is looking rather unimpressed at the non-striker's end.
He does a good
Bloody mate.
unimpressed face, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
that's his resting unimpressed face, isn't it? And that one's played by way of variation. Straight out to the man, but slightly deeper mid-wickets. They do finally come through for a run. Required run rate is 5, and they're currently on 6.3.
We're due for a change at the end of this over. Messi is coming back.
Yes, already.
Hendo's going to come in and take over for me and do some ball.
Indeed, I shall summarise.
And I'm flitting off till I'm not on again until India. Pakistan
Oh.
tomorrow.
Well,
Mm.
look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much for your company, Annie.
Well, it's been
What do you know?
delightful.
It has indeed. That's a dot ball to finish the over, and we change commentary with England on something like 53 for 2.
Hendo!
Oh,
And
Christ.
Messi, I
Yes.
presume it's you on socials. We're on Aminda's tweet.
Gotcha. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Annie. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, guys.
And I guess we're on a drinks break too, which is handy.
Ah,
and
yes,
Indo
that
says
might
it's
well
a
be the
toss-up
case.
between who's played the worst cricket today, Australia or Afghanistan. In the end, a disappointing first day up for the Kiwi batting. I've got to say, I think England's batted in a pretty ordinary fashion. I thought they bowled and fielded beautifully. I'm unimpressed with them at this stage. Jay Grover says if Richard III won at Bosworth, we'd all be ruled by Yorkshire. Is that what you want? The history of our cricket club suggests that might not be the best idea. Yeah.
But would you rather the alternative, being ruled by the people who actually are being ruled by at the moment? Surely Yorkshire could hardly do any worse.
I tell you what,
Well, I think Aninda had the best idea, where the Indians come back and colonise Britain and sort out its government.
I would.
I quite like that idea.
If not that, I'd take Jeff Boycott. I'd even take Jeff Boycott over
Yeah.
what we've got at the moment, which
Yeah.
is, fairly radical.
Hello,
I think.
Hindo.
Hey, Messi. Hello, Forthy. Lovely
Hello
to be
there,
on with the
hello
Australian
there.
boy.
I'd quite like to have seen in their heyday a Boycott, Close, Truman, Illingworth cabinet. That would have been.
The thing is, none of them would have been able to support any of the others, so they wouldn't have ever got elected. That would have been the problem. I mean,
But whoever was in charge of austerity would have been the keynote.
Oh, jeez.
we should, yeah. Well, England are making
Well,
a pretty good fist of this, aren't they? They're looking pretty comfortable, I have
Well,
to
I
say.
guess, but you just never know in net run rate, do you, Hendo? It can be important and significant later in the tournament.
113. I mean,
Maybe.
you're talking about scoring at under 6 and over. If you can't do that, then you have to look at yourselves very.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure they'll absolutely certain they'll win the match. Well, as certain as you can
Potentially.
be. It's just net run rate can.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, having bowled out a team for such a low score, yes, you do want to do it quickly because that puts you in the driver's seat, as they say.
Yeah, and it has been important in the past. So we
I mean,
shall see.
I do think that Afghanistan will perform better against other teams. I mean, a lot better. 113 is a very poor return for them, and I think they
yeah.
struggled. I mean, they did definitely struggle against the pace of Mark Wood. And although Sam Curran came in and took those wickets, and his figures looked tremendous, Mark Wood to me was the man who caused them the most problems.
100%. Yeah.
We're back live. Nabi, the off
We are
spinner
back live,
and
yes.
captain, is bowling to Milan. Milan eases this out to Kays Ahmed at deep mid wicket, and they take a single. Milan has 14 from 21. Stokes a single from the 2 balls that he's faced. England are 63 for 2, so they need another 50 from. So we're now talking about 5 and over. Nabi in bowls. Back goes Milan. Stokes on this occasion works it to deep mid wicket once more. They take a single, not cleanly taken by the wicket keeper as the ball was hurled back in.
There's Mujib, Rashid Khan and Mohamed Nabi who's bowling now. That's a pretty impressive spin lineup.
Yeah,
Not-
absolutely.
Not one of the best in world cricket, but not really backed up by their pacemen.
No, Nabi in again round the wicket to Milan, who will take another single, just once more easing it into that vacant, rather open area in the leg side infield. England need 48 more from 57 balls. It would take something spectacular for Afghanistan to pull this one out of the fire. But we've seen stranger things.
Have we? Maybe.
Well, England being beaten by the Netherlands in 2009 was pretty strange.
Yep. That is 100% true.
I mean, I remember watching old Stuart Broad trying to somehow get the ball onto the stumps. Oh, he's bowled him! He's come down the wicket, Stokes. A quicker delivery from Mohammed Nabi. He really threw that in at 65 miles an hour. It's gone between bat and pad, and Stokes has found himself on his way. Maybe it's not all over. England are 65 for 3, and one of their main men has gone. Got him! Why did he do that? Unbelievable! Yeah, great piece of bowling.
Looked like an arm ball, which slightly surprised the batsman, and it actually deflected off his. That's like surprise Stokes went off his pad onto off stump there.
Yeah, well, he's shaking his head as he goes back to the pavilion. He'd come down the wicket. I think Nabi just saw him and threw it in with a little bit more wrist action on the ball. And as you say, it clipped that front pad on its way into the stumps. And
he can get quite a bit of pace, can't he? He's got a real round arm sling.
Oh, he's a highly skillful bowler, is Mohammed Nabi.
Very experienced.
And that's
101 T20 internationals.
It's the brilliance, isn't it, of having the ball up there in your hand. You're in the delivery stride. Your arm is coming over, and then you can just impart a little bit extra pace on the ball.
Yeah.
Really, really wonderful stuff from him. Liam Livingstone has come to the crease at number 5, which is perhaps earlier than we expected him to. I will jingle him up. He's had struggles with injuries, facing up to Nabi, a little bit of movement away, perhaps a bit of drift, but he punches this past the man at extra cover, fairly straight at extra cover. The throw comes in from long off, and they have taken the one. Livingston underway. England 66
He has some experience
for 3.
here, of course, having played for the Perth Scorchers.
Oh, did he play for the Perth Scorchers?
Yeah.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, we talk about Liam Livingstone as this this great player. He's only ranked 97 in batsmen at T20 international level. And I said the other day, I think it was in the Smacksman piece last week, that Liam Livingstone, as Nabi comes in, bowls to Milan just glides that down to backward point. There is no run. That actually, when you look at his figures, and it may have something to do with batting lower down the order than perhaps he should, apart from that 100 he got against Pakistan, and a wonderful innings of 40-plus balls, he's not done a lot in T20 cricket. It's almost like his reputation exceeds his return, if that makes sense.
I think that's certainly true. But by the same token, the great majority of T20 cricket isn't at international level. So in the BBL, he's got 851 runs at a strike rate of 138 and 9 wickets at an economy rate of 8.2 per over, which is
but does that create a situation in our own minds where that isn't reality? You know, we see him as a better player than he is.
Quite possibly.
Rashid Khan is in, bowls to Livingstone, who just forces this up to long on. Before Fourthly comes in, I'll just do a little jingle for the new man. Please. It's great, isn't it? Actually, that's what you should say. Anytime anyone says Rashid Khan, you just say yes, please. Superb stuff. Rashid, number 8, he's into his 3rd over. He's in, bowling to Milan. Milan lets this one come on to him as he's onto the back foot, and he's keeping relatively calm, turning this out to deep mid-wicket and taking the single. England move to 68 for 3.
Well, you usually look at strike rate in T20, and his strike rate is good, Livingston, 152. That's very, very acceptable, very much something acceptable. But his average is only 21, and that includes that 100.
He's going to take another single here. This is angled into his legs, and he clips it away quite comfortably to deep mid-wicket. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, you know, when you look at batsmen that are coming in sort of from 4 or 5 downwards, you're sometimes looking at the quick 30, aren't you? You're looking at the quick 30, the quick 40, rather than anything really significant in terms of total. It's just how quickly they do it. And you're right, he has a fantastic strike rate.
Which is important. Unlike Ben Stokes, who's got a bad strike rate and a bad average, if we're honest.
Khan bowls again, and onto the back foot goes Milan. He's beaten by this one outside the off stump. Fumbled by the keeper. So if he had got an edge, it would have possibly gone to ground.
Do you know what happened on the 20th September? I bet you don't. Rashid
I'm sure a lot of things happened on the 20th
Was it
September.
in history? It was
Ever. Here we see him. We'll find out in a minute. Onto the back foot goes Milan. He's going to take another single as he forces through the vacant mid-on area.
Was it Agincourt?
No. Rashid Khan turned 24.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my goodness! Right.
And
okay.
he's been playing cricket for 72 years, as far as I know.
Seems like that, doesn't it?
Amazing.
Seems like that. I'm not convinced he's not one of your great grandkids, to be honest, Messi. 70 for 3 is the score. 1 ball remaining in the 12th over. So Afghanistan not completely out of this one.
No, a couple of wickets now.
A couple of quick wickets. Rashid Khan might be the man to do it. He's in, bowls to Livingston. Livingston plays back to him, but
Nice
past
shot.
him, in fact. And they will get another single up to long off. That is the end of the 12th over. England chasing 113 to win are 71 for 3. Messi.
So we're back on serial killers. Ravi says Henry VIII killed perhaps 5 or 6. Shipman killed about 23. Boris Johnson killed probably 200,000. Guess his favourite for the next Prime Minister? Well, actually, he's not favourite. Sunak is favourite by a long shot.
Is he really? Is he really?
Yes.
I just don't trust. I just don't trust the British people.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
And if it goes
It's
to
not
the
so much the
membership,
British people; it's those cauliflower-headed
Tory
people
members,
in the home counties. isn't it?
absolutely.
That's the problem.
Basically, Forthy, you're saying that those shouldn't be considered as British people.
Barely. Barely.
In comes Nabi, bowls to Livingston, who drives the ball slightly on the up, but straight back to the bowler. There is a slip now in position for Nabi. Nabi is into his second over, figures of 1 for 4. Captain of the Afghanistan team. This time he comes down the wicket, it's fired in, but he'll still get a run. He might get a couple here, in fact. It's well placed by Livingston between mid-wicket, deep mid-wicket and long on, and they do get back for the second. England need 40 from 46 balls, 73 for 3. I do think, though, having watched the documentary on Harold Shipman a few months ago, that he probably killed a few more than 23.
Oh yeah, I think that's true.
I mean, you know, it's almost like that. Unfortunately, that nurse that's in on trial. I won't mention it really because it could be contempt of court, but it's one of those really shocking, potentially shocking stories. Pulled by Livingston. He's only going to get 1 out to Ahmed at deep mid wicket. 74 for 3. Sometimes
Hey,
a lot
Dave
of-
Wood is confused. He says, is Messi Chairs basically Crocodile Dundee?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
I
Messi
am
Jez
not.
is all sorts of things. Things you can't even imagine. Anyway,
Beyond human record.
beyond. I'm surprised you haven't turned up on Ancient Alien. Does anyone watch Ancient Alien? Am I the only person who watched Ancient Aliens on?
Yes,
I do not
you
watch
are.
Ancient
To help me,
Aliens.
to-
I do
it helps
not
me
watch that
sleep.
programme.
Down,
nice.
down to backward point by Milan. He's going to run through for a single. The score was on
Well,
75 for 3.
back to Harold Shipman for one moment, unfortunately. There's a lot of strange people out there. There's a very good Australian film called The Stranger with Joel Edgerton at the moment, which is a recreation of a famous abduction case. But I do recommend it if you come across it. Another very strange individual indeed.
Yeah, there's not much cheery out there on Netflix, is there? Fired
In the cinemas,
through
that one.
straight. Oh, we're right. Okay, Livingston's going to take a single up to long on. England moved to
If I want
77 for 3.
If I want ancient aliens, all I need to do is look in the mirror.
Oh yeah, fair point.
Oh, Messi, come.
Who do you think you were formed from, Messi? The Pleiadians or the what were the other? I can't remember what the other ones are.
I think a grey. I think.
Oh, you're a grey. Yeah, good point. This is fired in with a lot of arm from Mohamed Nabi. It's Milan on the pad. He shrugs his shoulder in disappointment at not being able to connect with that. It's the end of the 13th over. England 76 for 3, chasing 113 to win. Messi.
Ravi sent us a photo. Says the bottom of Bombay, just so you know. The thing is, the ring is Wankhede Stadium. Looking directly up from it, south is the little green patch that is Brabourne Stadium. On their left, reading down, are the Oval, Cross, and Azad Maidans. I don't know why you sent us that, Ravi, but it's lovely photo.
It's nice and nice.
Jay Grover just says, well, a serious point for once, I still find it very hard to read 2020 games, even after all this time. I think everybody does, Joe.
Yeah.
But he also says Stokes is fucking shite. Which
That's a
I
bit
think
harsh.
I tend to agree with in 2020. He doesn't belong in 2020.
Majib is back into the attack, and he fires one down the leg side, which Livingston manages to help on his way. Very fine indeed. It wasn't what he wanted, the bowler, and it's gone for one of these.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball, 4 runs, I hit the ball, and it went for 4 runs.
It's always fascinating when you watch these bowlers in slow motion and you see
Yes.
what exactly they impart on the ball. It's quite
Yeah,
phenomenal.
exactly
That's
right.
hit him
I
on the
think-
pad. Big appeal from the wicketkeeper, who's got about 5 yards down the leg side, and then appeal. I think they're going to review that. Are they?
Really? He was a long way
They
down
seem
the
interested.
pitch.
I'd be
Did-
surprised. It's been given
Yes.
not out by Alim Dar, but I think they are reviewing that, so there will be
Reviewing it.
a
Okay.
little bit of a delay.
Well, you might as well, mate.
Are you a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, Hendo?
Not much.
Talking of
No, I don't
looking-
really know. I mean, is he science fiction?
in science fiction, yes. He had the Cthulhu mythos with the
A
idea
bit
that
sort
there
of
are
horror science fiction, really.
Oh,
isn't it?
really?
100%.
Yeah, I'm not-
science fiction.
I mean,
Quite a few
I don't
films
mind
based on
science
his work.
fiction as long as there's an element of perhaps reality to it. We're looking at this one.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got any bat on that. It's possibly,
No.
probably missing leg stump or maybe clipping, in which case
At
it will be
best, I
given
think.
as not out. That's we're seeing it from side on mainly. The Afghanis are in a huddle, looking to the screen, the big screen.
I just question you, Hendo, as to whether faster than light travel falls within your definition of reality.
I don't know really. I don't like things that are set, 200,000
what you
years in
mean.
the future. I mean, if they're set 5 years in the future, or 20 years, or 30 years, or even 100 years in the future, this is maybe closer than we think. No, it's
Ooh,
not.
nah,
It's just
missing,
missing leg
missing.
stump. So the Afghanistan review fails, and we should play this. I get the feeling from England there's actually sort of an element of sensibleness has come across them. They're just trying to win the game, get underway well. Livingston goes back to a short one, turns it's the man on the 45, but he has to make some ground to his left, so they'll get a single. There's been a
I think
tendency.
it's a counterbalance to the government, isn't it?
Yeah.
The more sensible the T20 you play, the more crazy
it's
the
like-
government go and vice
No,
versa.
it's like the test and the white ball cricket have sort of reversed, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. That's another counterbalance.
But you see, I like this. I mean, I quite like. Okay, I understand this notion of the net run rate, and it may become important later on. But I think it's more important just to win your first game and feel that you're in
Well,
control.
true that, yes.
Majid bowls from round the wicket to the left-handed Milan. Milan forces the ball on the up, straight back to him. There is no run. 81 for 3. 2 balls left in this over. Milan goes back and he flays this away, looking to get it through the offside, but I think he's been caught. He has been caught at extra cover.
Whoa.
He didn't get over it sufficiently, and he's given Afghanistan the opportunity. Their fans are delighted, and England have lost a 4th wicket Milan has gone, never really got going. Let's have a look at this. He went back, he forced it. Oh yes, it's a good
That was a
catch,
really good
diving
catch.
away to his right.
That's a great catch.
Really nicely taken, and that is the end of that.
Another one bites the dust. I think that is going to be out, Fred. Another one bites the dust.
And it is the captain leading the way, leading by example, taking the catch there at extra cover. And Milan has gone.
And Josie Oak says the
We do.
collapse is on.
We doom!
Well,
Surely he says we do.
Well, yes. You cannot count your
Apparent
chickens.
Badger says, I prefer the other version of the Rashid Khan jingle myself. Fuck yeah.
Actually, let me have a look and see if we've got more than one jingle of for Rashid Khan in there. I mean, we have in the entire cart, but it may not be on the sort of immediately accessible jingles that we can just click on. So, apologies for that. Maybe we'll get the other Rashid jingle. But Rashid, yes, please. What's wrong with that? Rashid, yes, please. It's perfect, isn't it? No one would say no,
Well,
thanks.
No, but the fuck yeah sort of adds a bit of imperative to it.
This one is fired in at Brooks' legs, hits him on the thigh pad, just drops out behind the wicket. We should jingle up Harry Brook. We'd love him to have that whole jingle because it's the end of the over. England are 81 for 4, 14 overs bowled. They require what? Another 32 from 6 overs. It should be straightforward, but cricket is a fickle mistress, and you can never be utterly
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yes.
Neil Harris says, why wouldn't you use a smaller stadium so you could get a better atmosphere? It looks like a COVID crowd. Well, I understand that, but fundamentally you want some consistency between the games. If they played at the WACA, for example, which is a very small capacity right now, they would be playing on the WACA strips, which are a bit different from these drop-in wickets.
Farid is back into the attack, and Livingston launches into a very pleasant drive indeed. Gets it to the right of extra cover, to the left of mid-off, and that has run away to the boundary for, I suppose, a confidence-boosting one of these. Farid has just bowled the one over before this. That was a genuine cricket shot from Livingston.
It was a genuine cricket shot. It should have been stopped, actually.
Probably should have
it
been.
was, but nonetheless, very crisply hit.
Really, the 284th four of the tournament so far. Who counts
Bloody
fours,
hell.
for God's sake? Left
is a
arm round the
lot
wicket
already.
again. It's crashed square by Livingston.
Oh, it's a great
That
shot.
wasn't quite so orthodox, but it was effective, and that has flown away for one of these. You give Liam Livingston width at your peril. And he's
I mean,
absolutely done
we're
that.
talking him down a bit, but he those two shots, he's probably timed the arse off those two shots more than anybody else in the game so far, to be honest.
He moves to 21 from 13. What a good start from him. In comes Farid again, and he plays this off the back foot,
Very
almost as if he thought the ball bounced a little bit more than he expected, but he guides it down with control to third man and picks up another single. England move to 90 for 4. The required rate is now just 4.18. And in the
Warren says Hendo's an ancient alien. That explains a lot.
very good point. Very good point.
It's Eric von Daniken who had
Yes.
about aliens.
Yes, Chariots of the
Oh,
Gods.
yes.
He wrote
All of that
many years ago.
stuff.
I must admit, I watched.
You're a fan.
I was no, well, not really. Yes and no. I mean, I think that as Shakespeare said, there are more things in heaven and earth than we imagine. We can't imagine, in fact, what there
In your
is.
philosophy, Horatio.
That's
yes,
the
indeed,
one.
Hamlet.
That's the one. Farid in again, bowls to Brook, and Brook guides this on the bounce, really past the man at back to the point, who tried his best to thrust his hand out but couldn't get to it. Brook has run really quickly to get back for the second. Good work from him. England moved to 92 for 4.
I think that's the idea in that Prometheus film, isn't it? With the Ridley Scott directed one.
Oh, really?
That the intelligence arrived from outside us.
I know, but
I think it was a very pretentious film.
There are some incredible things, that are said, and absolutely you think people are off their heads. But actually, the world is such a weird place, isn't it? Farid bowls, pulled by Brook very nicely indeed. There is a man at deep backward square, does well, in fact, to keep that in play and keep it away from going for 4. They'll pick up 2 more. Brook moves.
Are you suggesting that Liz Truss, Nadine Dorris, and Jacob Rees-Mogg might have been right all along?
Well,
but there's definitely
there's what's mad and there's what crazy. I think there's a line to be drawn, but. I mean, when you
invasion of the body snatchers. I think comes to
God!
mind.
But when you look at the night sky and you think these things are billions of light years away, I mean, it's phenomenal, isn't it?
But they're very small. They're very small, those stars, aren't they? And we're very big.
At the moment, we seem that way. This is guided down to third man by Brook. They'll take another single. It's the end of the over. 15 are done
this
and
flat
dusted.
Earth we're on.
England.
Okay.
Sorry, let me just give the score. 95 for 4. 5 overs remaining. England need 18. The bear is
I think
in.
that's the end of us, isn't it? Yeah. Cheers.
It is. While Tony's sitting down, I'll do one more tweet from Leah. It says, "I really like Rashid. I'm always amazed how far he has come from that awkward kid that only gave one-word answers to a genuinely interesting and thoughtful speaker on the game."
Well, you've seen a lot.
He has. I mean,
Jay Grover is the next tweet for you, Tony.
Thank you very much.
I remember trying to interview Chandra Paul's 16-year-old son in Antigua in 2013, and despite my incredible skills,
You couldn't get
I
anything
couldn't
out
get
of him.
anything out of him.
17-year-old kid. Well, Rashid Khan is going to finish his spell with his 4th over. Harry Brook pulls the first one. No, it was Livingston. No, it was Harry Brook. Down too long on, they go back for 2. And this is the problem, isn't it, for Afghanistan? They've got Mujib and they've got Rashid, who are world-class bowlers. When those two aren't bowling, runs can flow.
Well, I think that's true, but if you give them half a decent total to face, and they're much more in the game, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, no, that's going to be caught, surely.
Yes.
It is. Harry Brook is gone. Rashid Khan gets a deserved wicket, 97 for 5. Trying to hit it over long on here, Harry Brook. Didn't get the distance, and it's been caught down there in the deep.
The way that his bat turned in his hand, you feel like he was trying to play that a lot squarer than that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for him, it's gone much straighter than he intended, and he's just given a simple catch away.
Yeah, the other problem you feel with Afghanistan is exactly that. Have they got the batsmen to get enough runs on the board? More often than... I mean, they do, but I don't think they do it often enough.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think on their day, yes, they could be brilliant.
Yes.
We saw sort of little flashes of it this morning with a fantastic sweep or 2 that went for 6 off the quicker bowlers. But they just... I don't think they
Too
could
many
deal.
dot balls.
Yeah, they
don't
deal
take the
with Mark
singles
Wood,
as
could
well.
they?
No, they couldn't deal with Mark Wood. They didn't take some of the singles that should have been, the other sides would have taken. Moe's in at number 7. I mean, this is a hell of a lineup that England have got, batting-wise.
Our bills shouldn't touch. Move over, AMLO. I like it too much. Move over, AMLO. You're one hairy dish. I love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
We've got, 4 overs and 4 balls to get 16 runs. So we should be able to get that. You'd have thought. That's clipped out to mid-wicket. There's no run. It hasn't been easy for England. I mean, I don't know whether it is the wicket or... Rashid and Mujib have bowled very well.
They're probably going to get over the line, but when you look at it, 5 wickets down, it's not that impressive, is it?
Yeah, the question is, do you think, as that one is googly, which is cut by Moeen out to back the point to get themselves a single. This is it. Did England pace themselves after they lost a couple of wickets? I mean, you've got to say, David Malan was glacial today for T20 innings. I mean, was it 18 or 30? You can't be doing that. But you wonder, did he decide not to take any chances because they had such a small total to chase? You'll never know.
You
Well,
know
you
what?
don't want
Johnny Bairstow in the Times this morning
Yep.
said the way you deal with Rashid here is to take him on down the ground.
Oh, really?
Not the best advice, it seems.
Well, I think, Johnny would have done. The thing is, Johnny would have placed him loads of times. That's played down to long on and got himself a single.
Yeah, imagine having that confidence against Rashid Khan. It's incredible, really.
Well, I mean, a
isn't
lot
it?
of batsmen would have seen him now.
Oh, yeah,
you know, I
absolutely.
mean, he plays in virtually every bloody decent T20 franchise tournament around the world,
The
doesn't
thing is, he gets you out before you've had time to have a look at him.
Some people,
Generally speaking.
he gets taken to the cleaners every once in a while. And at the beginning of the IPL last year, he bowled quite poorly actually for about 4 or 5 games and got scored heavily off of. Got himself back into it. You wonder if he burns himself out. Constantly travelling, might you? In Afghanistan, he must be fucking loaded. As that's cut out to back of a point. There's no run. I don't know what
I
his
took a single, didn't it?
no single. Sorry, that's what I meant. I often say no run when I mean single.
You do.
Just comes naturally.
Anyway, so, well, Messi just says Jay Grover's the next tweet. I mean, that's like saying the sun will rise tomorrow. But I'll start
Or
with
will
this
it?
one and
Or
hope
will
I'm
it?
in the
Sorry,
wrong.
will
Or
it?
will it?
It won't if Boris comes back.
If it's true, it's no longer weird. Like Tim Minchin's line, you know what they call alternative medicine that's been proved to work? Medicine.
Yeah,
I
true.
get the idea. Jersey Oak, I said the collapse is on. We're doomed. Well, there you go.
I wonder what would happen if Jersey Oak and I went out for a drink.
I
God.
tell you what, I don't think the bear and I'd be with you.
The world would implode.
I don't know whether you come back, the pair of you.
Yeah, it would be a nightmare. Pokeball finger, what the actual fuck? Let's limp to the finish line while trying to saw your own legs off.
Well, let's not be too critical. A win is a win.
A win is a win.
And Australia have been thumped by New Zealand today. So
Exactly. In its first game of the tournament, what you don't want to do is lose it.
yeah,
And there's no need to go very quickly. Pulled by Moeen out to deep mid wicket. Not greatly timed, but he'll get himself a single. It's all England need.
and also I think this is quite good to see Liam Livingstone getting a nice little knock, and having something to build on throughout the tournament, even if he bats lower down the order. I think, as I said, his reputation is greater than the sum of
What
he's done.
Well,
to
not
some
necessarily.
extent.
I mean, I think he's batted well in some tournaments. I think he's done all right in the PSL. He's done particularly well in the BBL. We just don't get to see a lot of it.
Yeah, but you're talking about international cricket now, aren't you? You're talking about the best of the best.
Yeah, you are talking about the best of the best. He might not be I mean, some of those failures, as that's just inside edge onto hit, maybe. Out to the leg side, single, yeah. And that was always particularly suited unless someone gets inside his head for ODI cricket. He failed quite a lot in those ODIs.
Yeah.
And what was annoying about that was he'd hit, a couple of sixes and a 4.
Yeah,
And then just carry on going,
He
which
was
is kind of what you need to do in a T20, but not necessarily in an ODI. And
I think he was
that
egoed
frustrated us.
out,
Yes.
wasn't he? On a couple of occasions.
Yes, in an ODI you don't necessarily need to see that. You need to have a little bit of circumspect to get,
Yeah.
15 off the first 4 balls and chill out. And
Yes. Take it easy, man.
get a
Take
single,
it easy. Have a
get off
split.
strike, and then have a go next over. In short, pulled nicely by Moeen. Probably a fielder out there. Doesn't look like it's been easy to time it that well on this pitch, to be fair.
Well, in that case, England would, need to take the positives and say we've done a pretty good job. But at 103 for 5, you're kind of, if you've got your England supporters hat on, you're kind of glad it's not 160 you're chasing.
Yeah. Well, England's approach would have had to been different. Presumably the wicket would have been slightly different. I noticed after the game this morning, New Zealand's net run rate is already plus 4.45.
Wow.
Australia minus 4.45.
And they're both in England's group.
And they're both in England's group. I mean, that's almost as good as a point, isn't it? Australia's.
If there's a lot of weather next week, which
Yeah,
there
certainly.
is, of course, due to be.
Guided by Livingstone behind square on the offside. Can't beat the fielder, no run. 3 and over required.
Messi's
10 to 20
divining
balls.
rod will be twitching uncontrollably.
Yeah.
Which is not bad for an old man.
Yeah.
You do need to keep your divining rod in
Boom.
good order.
Yes. 10 required for England. No one's going to win the GPL today.
Hey!
No. If England lose by 1 run,
Oh, God.
Messi will win. I don't think if they score a 6 off the last ball, because no, he would still be too short. I think if the scores were level and they hit a 6, it would be 3:30. That's clipped into leg side nicely by Livingston. It's a man out in the deep there, and it'll be a single. I think Afghanistan have done themselves reasonably proud, I thought. I mean, not with the batting, but
No.
they've certainly pulled it back with the bowling.
Yeah, I mean, give them credit. They're a good side, and they can be a good side on the day. They are. I don't want to use the dreaded word mercurial, but they are a kind of
Especially
team
when it's
that
not
can
Pakistan.
Well, it's not Pakistan, but they can be brilliant when it comes off for them.
The thing is, actually, you don't want to be the side that comes up to them in a tournament like this when they have their day.
When they have their good day, yeah,
because
absolutely,
that's when you're going to lose to them. And one of the top teams expected to win it, as that's short and fast and down the leg side, and knowing ducks inside it. It's not giving us a wide, and there's no run.
That was a good ball, I thought.
Yeah, it was.
Surprised him a little bit, Tony.
Madame Mohan Sharma says, I feel had Australia scored 112, England would have scored at the required runs in 12 overs. But against Afghanistan, they're taking too much time. Well, I don't think it's that straightforward. Farong's done a picture of a baby that says, oh shit, squeaky bum time. Surely not. Well, you never know. John Batham, how bad has our batting been today? Could have been bowled out if Afghanistan had held their catches. Poor net run rate in this match could haunt England. Yeah, we were just discussing that. But I don't think it's straightforward. The batting's not straightforward.
The batting's not forward, and you want the points rather than the run rate.
Messi Jez has done one of those things you expect to hear on Guerrilla Cricket. I often say there's no run when they take a single.
Yeah,
which is probably
it's always
true.
mildly confusing.
Yeah.
And your discussion about the stars and the magnificence of them, Hendo, I tweeted out under our name the famous Les Dawson joke about that.
Down the
For your
track
pleasure.
comes Livingston, I think. Didn't see who was facing. Yeah, it must be Livingston. He's right-handed. What I'm on about. Mo's left-handed. It bursts through the hands of cover, and they'll get back for 2.
New bowler.
New bowler.
The gods made Muhammad Nabi, and they saw that he was good.
He throw it.
He came to play with bat and ball with a style like silk and wood.
Maybe he doesn't throw it. He bowls extraordinarily quick for it. It's
He
just
does.
flat darts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Inside edge onto the leg side, and there's no 61 miles an hour for a spinner.
So what was the famous joke from Les Dawson?
Well, it's not really a joke. It's more. I could read it to you if I get time. I'll try it at the end of this over.
Okay.
England needs 6 from 16 balls. Yeah, if they finish it in this over, they'd finish it with 2 overs to go. That's pretty good in the T20. It's 9%.
I mean, how do you think that the
12.5%.
media at large is going to review this game? Do you think
They'll say England looked a bit sluggish, and they'll probably slate Milan for getting 18
I
or
think they'll
30.
acknowledge that run scoring's not straightforward.
Well, they'll probably say that we made a meal of it. Wouldn't surprise me, as that's played into the offside. They're coming back for 2. Ooh, and they get there.
Yeah, easily enough, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit tight.
Easily enough.
Livingston getting back to the bowler's end. I think they want to finish it this over.
I mean, I think this is a fascinating group. It's a really strong group. You know, you could see Ireland causing England trouble. You can see Paul Sterling on his day. I mean,
Yeah,
he
I
doesn't
mean,
have that many days, but when he does,
Well, he had his day against who was it? The other day.
The thing is, you look at this group and you think New
Zimbabwe.
Zealand.
Yes, Zimbabwe.
You'd think the strongest. There's 3 teams that could quite easily win it. As that's worked on the leg side, and there's no run. I mean, New Zealand looked good, England looked good, Australia looked good. You look at the other side, you think Pakistan, India look like they should top that group with quite ease, and then it's between Pakistan and South Africa, really.
Yeah.
I think South Africa's a bit of a dark horse in this tournament. I've said that. I just put my colours to the mast as that one's pumped into the offside and there's no run. I think the conditions will suit them. They certainly like hard, flat, bouncy wickets. The batsmen love it coming onto the bat.
yeah, I mean, it's good. It's an open tournament, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, T20 is much more
It
open
is,
than anything
yeah.
else, isn't it? That's not particularly well timed by Moeen, but he gets enough of it to work it square enough with long leg that they get back for 2, and England require 2 off the last 2 overs. And this will be all right for the net run rate, you know. Having knocked it off in 18 overs.
But when you look at that extraordinary net run rate that New Zealand have forged for themselves, 4.450, and Australia are minus 4.450. It's kind of quite entertaining, isn't it? The joke, Les Dawson's joke.
It's very quick, if I
Yeah.
can do it. In awe, I watched the waxing moon ride across the zenith of the heavens like an ambered chariot towards the ebony void of infinite space, wherein the tethered belts of Jupiter and Mars hang, forever festooned in their orbital majesty. And as I looked at all this, I thought, I must put a roof on this
I knew
toilet.
that was, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Yeah, as you said, it was just
The good old
reforming
days,
in my
eh?
room.
Outside toilets with no roofs on.
The good old days.
The good old
I think we're going back to those.
Yeah,
I
well.
won't be happy until we've all got outside toilets again.
Didn't see he's coming into bowl,
Smash.
but he's been smashed. Gone.
That's it, isn't
No,
it?
he's not out, and it's not 4. It'll just be 1. So they're going to require 1 run. Scores are level. 6 runs now. No one will win a GPL. Shame.
I'm thinking this is Asmatullah Omarzi, and this is his jingle. It's 31 seconds of it.
Please believe me.
Okay, that's enough of that. 31 seconds, I'm afraid of
What
that.
song was that?
That's it's
the
Darling
Beatles.
by the Beatles,
Yeah,
isn't
so
it?
Darling,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
This should be the last ball of the game. 112-5 England. Moen's facing up. Oh, no, it's not the last ball of the game because it's short. It's through the keeper. Give it as a wide. End the game with a wide. It's a wide and the game ends. It's short, it's wide, it's total crap ending to a game with an extra. But England win by 5 wickets. With 11 balls to spare, it'll be a decent net positive run rate. Should be okay. England, of course, having won that game, we've got to play New Zealand. You going to play a jingle?
I will.
So umpire, spread your wings and call wide.
Or England win by 5 wickets. What else can we say, Bear? Apart from
Not a lot. Good start for England.
Decent
Poor
half
start for Australia earlier this morning, which is joyous.
that's
to
more
watch.
entertaining for us.
It was. They were poor, man. They got battered, man.
They still win the tournament.
Yeah, they could do. They could. Well, the thing is, if they
Reece
lose to
Topley's
us,
still
they're in trouble, aren't they?
Well, I suppose.
Because if they're having lost to New Zealand and England, who are probably the other 2 favourites in the group, and have to hope, England. Well, I suppose there's lots of weather around.
But the other thing to say, of course, is that, although England did really well in the warm-ups against Australia, and had it not been for rain, they probably would have won 3-0. That when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, England may well lose to Australia.
Yeah, they may well do. I mean,
even though
it's
they played
T20.
really well against them last year. So, man of the match got to be Sam Curran. I mean, that's really fucked my an article.
I'm going to have to read it now.
You did say, didn't you?
I did say.
I might
didn't
have to rewrite it if Sam.
Well, I
gets
didn't
the
rewrite it.
poster.
I just added it in at the bottom. But I don't expect to see Sam Curran have figures of 5 for 10 again in this tournament, to be honest. But against Afghanistan, look, I love Sam Curran. I think he's a really, really good bowler. But I think Reece Topley, you miss something when you haven't got Reece Topley.
Yeah, too. I mean, I'd have had them
over.
both in the side. I think
Yeah.
Sam Curran and Reece Topley were in my starting.
Who
11.
would you left out? Wokes?
I'd have left out Wokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's
That's
hard.
it. You've skittled the team out for 113.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
With the attack that was
I
out
don't want to
there.
say it's only Afghanistan, but it is only Afghanistan. I think they're well. I don't. I think their weak point is their batting.
And I think also though that actually getting Afghanistan first is important as well, because they're I think I heard you, Tony, talking about the fact that they'd lost their 3 warm-up games.
Yeah.
And getting them early is a good thing. If they get a little bit of momentum, they could still be a very dangerous side.
Yeah. I mean, they're always positive.
Yeah, and so it's a goodish win for England. It's not a massive win for England, but it's decent enough. Livingston ends up 29 not
I
out of
genuinely
21.
think that wicket was not straightforward to bat on.
No.
The ball wasn't really coming onto the bat. I think, it was workmanlike. They got there. It does show just how deep their batting is.
I think workmanlike is a very good description, and I think that sometimes that's important for England. I mean, you take out the Bazball notions. Sometimes you do have to be
You have to
workmanlike.
win ugly. Sometimes you
You
have
have
to
to win
absolutely.
ugly. Yeah,
Yeah.
which Liverpool didn't manage today. They fucking lost at fucking Nottingham fucking Forest.
Oh dear. Dear,
Oh,
dear.
mate,
Says the
my
man
t-
from Watford.
My team has won 3 games out of 38.
Oh,
what are you
Jesus.
What are you worried
We're
about?
going to
mate?
lose to Luton tomorrow. Life doesn't get any worse than that.
Oh,
you
wow.
got hammered by the other day? I thought you.
Oh, Millwall, wasn't it?
Millwall,
By
yeah.
Millwall.
And then
Couldn't
Millwall
hack
were
it.
losing 3. Someone
Millwall
got a
hat
bloody
trick.
hat trick.
Yeah.
Very quickly, well, I'm going to say a few hellos. George McPherson, thank you. Suter, who has been very busy chatting away. He said net run rate's only an issue when you start losing games. That's probably fair enough.
True.
Emily Elizabeth said, what was the run total? And thanks, everyone. 113. I think she means...
For the GPL.
225.
It was 225. No one won.
No winners.
The prize is getting bigger and bigger. I'll tell you what it is for tomorrow.
Yeah, she confirmed, yes, my guesses were too high. They
Way
were,
too high. I
anyway.
did tell you that.
But you
earlier.
just made that pot get bigger and
Yeah,
bigger.
it's
And
all
it
right.
will be won. Someone will win it.
224 it starts off tomorrow.
Wow.
For India, Pakistan.
Is that the highest we've ever had?
No, it's been up to 290.
But it's extraordinary in a T20 though, isn't it, that we haven't
Yeah.
had someone landing on the correct...
Well, I guess
correct number.
you think in a test match day, you might, it's quite easy to work out, except for when England have been playing Badsball, that you might get somewhere between, say, 250 and 350 on an average day.
There is
In a
Sam getting his
T20,
medal.
it could be as low as 250 or as high as 500,
Yeah, absolutely true. Sam Curran is being interviewed by Mike Atherton. And of course, I mean, in technical terms, you look at the scorecard and you say Sam Curran's bowled brilliantly. I have to say that I was rewriting a lot of the Smacksman while Sam Curran was bowling, so I'm not actually quite sure how well he did bowl. How would you say he bowled?
He bowled really well.
He bowled really well.
He bowled really well. He was accurate. He nibbled it around, and he was very hard to get away on a wicket that helped him. And his brother Tom, in 2018 got a 5 for at Perth Stadium in an ODI. So now both Currans have 5-fers in a comparatively limited amount of
A
international cricket
5-fer in a
in the
T20 is extraordinarily difficult
It
to
is.
get.
Oh,
and
yes.
that's
Oh,
absolutely
yes.
fantastic bowling, you have to say. And in fact, he didn't even complete his 4 overs, did he? 3.4 overs in the end.
Yeah.
I think he looks better for having taken a little bit of the highlights out of his hair. I think that's a bit